When we're looking to develop our teams to shape organizational culture and to make real progress, there are some things that only work if the leader is willing to go first. And that's what we're going to have a conversation about today. What does life look like as the leader goes first? You know, there is this story on the internet that is just taking everyone by storm. The internet reminded us clearly in the past few days of recording this video of the power of when a leader goes first, but not really. And it happened all because of a burger. If you don't know the story by now, a famous fast food CEO was promoting a new sandwich. And they recorded the video, and this CEO, he takes a bite out of the burger. He takes a bite out of it, and the internet went wild because he noticed, or the internet noticed, we noticed that bite wasn't that big. And no matter how much this senior leader, top leader in the organization, talked about how much he loved this new burger, or in his words, this new product, no matter how much he talked about how much he loved it, his actions did not align with what he was saying. And this wasn't really a question. It wasn't really a question about the burger. It was more so a question about credibility and how we're choosing to show up in the moments where our team and our organization needs us the most. Now, I'm pretty sure the organization isn't going to suffer dramatically because the CEO did not take a big bite out of the burger. They have enough social capital and historical standing and leverage points. It's not a big deal. It's just a blip, maybe in the radar of their marketing. But for the rest of us, you got to ask yourself this question. Can I afford to? Could I afford to make a similar mistake? I remember early in my work in organizational development and team culture and doing workshops, early in the work, there is an organization that reached out to me and they said, hey, can you come in and run a session? Run a session with one of our teams. We really need you to come in and work with us. We got some recommendations. We seen your work. Let's connect. So we make the arrangements and I get to the place to do the session, the workshop, almost a full day. And here's what the leader told me as we were getting started. The leader said that they had some much needed work to look into that day. And as a result, they wouldn't be participating. So as we circled and started to connect and run through some frameworks and have some exercises, some really good conversations, the leader was there sometimes. Sometimes they were busy clicking away on their laptop off in the corner. Sometimes they would be peering or looking at what we were doing, slightly interested. And sometimes they just would not be in the room altogether. Now we get to the end of the day. And as we're giving our final debriefs and reflections, the leader comes back or joins the conversation and wants to give some instructions, wants to cheer the team on for really leaning into the experience and looking to take over the final part of the day. And you could see the visible frustration. Just their faces were painted with frustration and their body posture. A lot of people had shut down, had checked out. Because how can you not participate, not engage, not commit, and then at the end want to come in and try to drive a meaningful conversation or pull meaning out of the experience. So that's not the way we do things today. Today, when we do this work, it is not an option. Leaders themselves have to sit in the circle. They have to be a part of what's going on. And they have to make a meaningful contribution. This is non-negotiable for me. And I want to be clear here. When I'm leading workshops and training sessions, I don't want the leader deeply engaged in every conversation. I don't want them a part of every exercise. I don't want them making comments on every framework. That's not what I want. In fact, in many cases, I have the leader remove themselves from a working group or from a wider plenary discussion. And the leader and I will stand shoulder to shoulder. We'll share our observations. We'll walk through some of the feedback framework so that the leader is deeply engaged in what's going on. However, they're also giving their team space to have the much needed conversations. They don't get to leave the room. They don't get to check out. They don't get to miss the important elements. And this is important. I know I just said important elements and that this is important. Okay, you get it. The value of this. Because when a leader suggests that there is more important work to do, there's that word again, it's signaling to the team that this really doesn't matter. And I need that leader in the room, especially when we start our conversations around mistakes, when we start conversations around, let's practice this new skill. When we have prompts around maybe some of the difficult moments that we've navigated or that we look to navigate, you don't get to be missing from those spaces. And when leaders when they take a big bite of what we're serving up in this space, it changes the environment. It changes the energy. It signals to the rest of the team in some way that it's safe for me to be here. And then when that happens, what changes? We get more trust. We get more participation. We get more energy. And we need all of these. We need all of them when we're talking about the changes that we're looking to navigate, when we talk about what's next, when we really want to dive deep into what it means to get the most out of our people. We can't afford to go missing when the moment asks us to step up and to participate in a deep way. So you need to ask yourself, before you start working on the development plan, before you start working on the creativity session, before you invite some outside facilitator or leverage someone internally on your team for the workshop or the seminar or the strategy session, you need to ask yourself, as a leader, will you commit the time to this? And will you take a big bite out of what is going to be served in the experience? In order to really make a difference and have significant impact, you have to be able to answer the question, am I willing to go first? Because there are some things when we're looking to develop our teams, when we're looking to shape culture, when we're looking to make real progress, there are some things that will only work if the leader decides, if the leader chooses to go first. And when they do, and when you do, when you go first, you have to take a really big bite.